I'm Suzanne Miller, and I'm a sociology instructor here at Rock Valley College, and I'm really excited to share with you today who my most inspirational figure is in Black history in America. When this project first came to be and we were discussing how we would kind of frame this, I knew immediately who I was going to make my video about, and that person is Paulette Gilbert. Some of you may know her as an English and literature instructor here at the college. The reason why she's the most influential person for me as it relates to Black history and activism dates back a few decades. So when I was a student at Rock Valley and I was really struggling, I was a first generation student who was trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. And I was just kind of stumbling my way through my classes, through my program of study, and I didn't have a lot of direction. In 2002, I took an African literature class and it changed my life. The reason why it changed my life had less to do with the content and more to do with the instructor who, of course, was Mrs. Gilbert. Now, I'll never forget the day that we were examining what is now one of my favorite books, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. And I made a comment in response to a question she had posed about content within the book. And I had somehow made this link between something that happened later in the book and something that had happened much earlier in the book. And several weeks had passed between us discussing the incidents that I referenced in this later class. And her comment was very simple. All she said was, I've never made that connection before. That's it. That's all she said. And with that one simple statement, I was validated. I belonged in this space. And subsequently, I latched onto her like you would not believe. And what I learned during my time in adopting Mrs. Gilbert as a mentor was that she engaged actively, both on an individual and on a group basis, in this thing called activism. And it was certainly something that was near and dear to my own heart. I had been engaging in my own pieces of activism, or how I perceived activism should look. And from her, I learned that you don't necessarily have to engage in grand marches. You don't have to necessarily engage in public speaking where thousands of people would hear you or see you. Sometimes activism just looks like day-to-day tasks, right? And so during my time of working with Mrs. Gilbert, what I've really come to admire about her is that she is creating change, oftentimes intentionally, but so many times unintentionally. And that's really what activism looks like for the bulk of the work, right? We have so many unsung heroes that just go about their day-to-day life and they do what they believe to be right. They do what they believe to be just, all in the effort of trying to get us towards a more equitable society. And so much of her work, whether it is supporting students who have been historically disenfranchised in the social structures and institutions of our society, educating students around real history versus the histories that were often taught in our K through 12 systems, whether it's educating and encouraging people to engage in processes such as voter registration and voting itself, or challenging structures that we recognize systemically marginalize particular groups within our society. She seeks to provide that same validation for individuals that move within their respective spaces. And all of these acts that happen in her day-to-day work leads us towards a more, I'll say again, equitable society. And at the end of the day, that's what this work is about. And it's certainly what the recognition is about during Black History Month. So oftentimes we'll hear names offered up, icons of Black history in America. And that is how it should be. Ideally, we'd be able to incorporate these conversations, these recognitions into mainstream education, but we're just not there yet, right? But behind every icon, there is a multitude of folks who are engaging in the same work, who are contributing to history of a particular community within our society, and they will never have their name splashed across headlines. They'll never get a chapter, a paragraph, even a sentence in a textbook, and that's okay. That's not really why people engage in this work. But I definitely wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge that the work Mrs. Gilbert does, the work that she has dedicated herself to, is why she is such an inspirational figure for me. And so I'll just say, Mrs. Gilbert, thank you for all of that and so much more. And because of you, I have no doubt that hundreds, dare I say thousands, of other people have been impacted and now are engaging in their own form of activism, probably on an individual basis, but maybe on a larger scale too, because of your own exponential effect. And I thank you for that.